Needs child abandoned on a bus in Brooklyn. Left there for more than an hour. We're talking freezing temperature. We're all experiencing that. Left there while the bus driver and his assistant ate breakfast inside a diner. Little girl's father says she was crying nonstop and came down with a fever. Just listen to the girl's mom tell us how she found out.
So sorry, your daughter was missing for an hour and without heat inside the bus. We are calling 911 if you would like to come. I say, absolutely, I would like to come. But
I'll say, well, now that bus driver and assistant facing criminal charges. Before we start, let's get the school statement out there. The New York City Department of Education spokeswoman saying the driver and matron have been suspended. The incident is under investigation. We are taking this very seriously. All right, joining us to talk about it, we welcome back New York attorney Eric Richman. Also with us, John Lauinger, a reporter, New York Daily News, been covering this. Well, John, let's get back to the basics here. How does a little 5-year-old get left on a bus while the driver goes and has breakfast?
I have no idea. It's just incomprehensible. I'm sure the viewers will think that it just boggles the mind. It's not quite clear how the matron and the bus driver never noticed little Iman Marza in the bus somewhere, but it was at least an hour before they noticed. Police sources said that a pedestrian noticed the girl in the bus and then flagged the bus driver down at a local eatery where he was having breakfast. But the the bus driver apologized to the father and said that it was actually his wife who noticed little Iman and then got his attention. It's unclear how the wife came to be here.
Yeah, I was looking at that detail as well. But regardless, someone noticed, whether it was the driver's wife or somebody else noticed, and that's how it was uncovered. So what? They quit eating the eggs sunny side up and run out to the bus and get the little girl back to school? Is that what takes place next?
Yeah, well, it was about 8:10 when she was abandoned. The weather was about 20 degrees, and the driver wound up calling the school at about 9:10. And 20 minutes later, they showed up at the school. Little Iman was crying hysterically. The father was there at that point. The father told the Daily News that he almost had a heart attack over the incident. They had called the wife initially. She was sobbing when she called her husband. And if you can think about this poor little girl's plight, she is developmentally delayed. The mother said she could only really say mama and papa, so she couldn't even cry for help, the mother said. It's astonishing, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, gosh, and it really brings it home when you see her cute little face there in the video we have. Eric, both arrested, facing child endangerment charges. How do you see this playing out legally?
Well, the child endangerment charge in New York is a very broad definition. Criminally, it fits the criterion. It's basically, you know, when you knowingly could cause harm to a child. It's that broad, and it satisfies it. The real problem here is that the Department of Education doesn't really have any data on this problem. So we have the basic problem that there's this oversight, there's a lack of a head count, there's a lack of proper checking of children who are on and off the bus, which you'll see there's plenty of stories that have happened over the past few years. But they're just that. They're these stories, and we're kind of trying to deal with this problem in the dark because there's this denial from the Department of Education in New York that the problem even exists, which makes the problem even worse.
Wow. Okay, before we get onto that, real quick, I want to go back to the bus driver, the bus matron. They're claiming ignorance, right? Just an oversight. Eric, in a court of law, or as this plays out again legally, how's that going to hold up? I mean, you're talking about a 5-year-old on a bus in freezing weather.
Yeah, their side of the story, I think, sounds pretty weak so far. I haven't heard it. There's going to be some evidence that comes out. This is a Class A misdemeanor in New York, which means that they could get to up to 1 year in jail. It seems like the kind of case that would play out where they would probably plead guilty and take a much lesser sentence. They're definitely, I think, going to lose their jobs for this.
Yeah. John, what do the parents want to see as far as punishment? Have they talked about that side of things?
The parents are blaming the school system. Just to note, the father told our paper that when the bus driver came and apologized, he was near tears, and he said this has never happened before, and that the girl must have been sleeping. The bus driver, Philip Vallone, is 78 years old. The bus matron, Madeline Shedd, was 66. Either way, it's inexcusable. You would think that they never went and walked the aisles of the bus, or else you would have to think that they would have noticed. But just to consider the depth of the problem here, on December 31st of 2008, a 22-year-old man with cerebral palsy spent 17 hours overnight in a bus depot in 15-degree weather. It's just that child had to be treated for hypothermia. It just, that can't happen.
John, so you're concurring with Eric here that this is just the tip of the iceberg on a pretty big problem. And to Eric's point, are you saying there's not the oversight? Bus drivers aren't checking head count, checking buses? Is that what's going on?
You would think, it's sort of like when you leave your home, you got to lock the door. Bus drivers have to make certain that there's a head count and that they physically walk the aisle and check the seats. In little Iman's case, she just couldn't call out for help. Hey, I'm still here, that kind of thing. It's just, it's the bus driver's responsibility and the matron as well. And to me, it seems like a matter of diligence, people taking pride in their job.
Yeah, and Eric, you're saying that there's not a standard operating procedure to make sure everybody's off the bus.
Well, I'm saying that there is, but I'm saying that when it's not enforced, the DOE, the Department of Education, doesn't have any statistics to tell us when it's not enforced. So we're dealing with a problem that we're not really sure of its nature or how big it is, because they refuse to basically, monitor themselves. So it's kind of sad. You feel sad for them when you hear that they're upset, the bus driver and the bus matron. But there's a systematic problem here as well. So who else is to blame besides these two people that made this terrible mistake? There's a system to blame. The Department of Education has an entire system to blame that must be fixed.
Okay, we'll keep following it, guys. Thanks again. We're thankful a little 5-year-old is okay, even though a very traumatic experience. John, Eric, thanks again. Coming up,
Thank you.
Yoga, popular workout, but one national chain is